Welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, Steve Mantis, and my guest today is the City Councillor for Red River Ward, Brian McKinnon. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Steve.
So, Brian, let's start a little bit with your own history. Are you a local boy from Thunder Bay, or tell us a little about your early days?
Yes, I am. I was born here. I grew up here, down in what we call the South End in Port Arthur, on Ontario Street. I had a large family. Actually, there were 10 of us, so we sort of ruled the neighborhood.
Watch out for the McKinnon clan.
Right, five boys, 3 girls, and mom and dad. And we had a great time. It was a great family, and we all sort of hung together. So I went to school here, and then, as was what you had to do in those days, I had to go away to the university. So I was lucky enough to be able to do that, and came back. I became a teacher, and that was my career. I went through the teaching profession. I ended up as a principal.
So you taught high school or junior high?
Yes, high school.
I mean, public school?
High school. And I was just about in every school. I got moved around a lot. I think they kept hiding me, maybe. I don't know.
What was your favorite subject? Where were you teaching?
Well, I was teaching, I started off teaching English and physical education. I think I taught physical education only because I played a lot of sports. Those were the days, I think, the principal of the day says, well, you could teach phys ed, blah, blah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was a little goofy, but English became my main area because I became head of English at Hammersville High School. So that changed the other part of what I was doing. And then I went into administration. I became a vice principal, ultimately a principal, and actually my last 6 or 7 years was at the board office. And that was a very interesting time in my career. I was fortunate to be elected to the Ontario Principals Council. I was actually ended up as the past president.
This is Ontario-wide of all the...
Yes.
Wow.
And then I was elected as the president of the Canadian Association of Principals.
Well, congratulations.
Oh,
That's
thank you.
amazing.
That was a wonderful time. And, I was able to do some things that helped our local board as well. I got a lot of contacts, and because what I was doing was I was called the principal of partnerships. And I worked with local business, provincial business, federal. In fact, one big American company, the Cisco computer company, I initiated a contract with them, which set up one of the very first computer labs in our high schools. And, working with other people, but that's where I was able to initiate Cisco to come in and actually pay for the lab. So that was that's going back to the early 90s. When remember, computers were just starting. People forget that computers haven't been with us all along. So that was pretty exciting. And other stuff that I was able to do in that particular job. One of my favorite parts was I was very involved in apprenticeship training, high skills, high school students taking specific courses, being able to work on high school credits and college credits. Now this is called dual credits now. They've actually got names and they're streamed, and that was pretty exciting. And we were able to get students involved in the high skills trades, construction, electrical, use your imagination, plumbing. And then they would get credit hours towards their apprenticeship if they went into that particular apprenticeship, either at the college or directly into the field. So those kinds of things were initiated And I worked with some other local principals who, we collectively worked on this. It wasn't just me, okay? I never used the word I, but it was really something that changed a little bit of the way we were dealing with students who, liked something else rather than, say, strict academics. So that was a pretty exciting time in my career.
And what do we know about the outcomes there? Has that proven to be a successful model to those kids who were starting to learn electrical? Do they go on and become electricians and stay in that trade? What do we know about that?
Well, that's a good question, because the province, meaning the Ministry of Education, must have thought there was some benefit to it, because now they have complete programs associated with that, where students can actually start into the high skills major. And they can start that at the end of grade 10, and they can work through their 2 years, work with the college, take college courses while they're in high school. They're called dual credits. And then at the end of it, they can say go to the college, or I guess directly into the field. And it has become, in fact, there was a point where, I'm not even sure they still do it, but the government would help, say, a contractor take on an apprentice and pay the contractor. There was some a grant, and it was given to them. Either it could be in the form of a taxation benefit or an actual grant. So they, they're doing that. They wanted, because the prediction was, I'm going to say back then in the early 90s, that by 2015, Canada would be short 1 million skilled workers. And I think that proved to be true. And so they were playing a little bit of catch up, and it's really, I think, starting to pay benefits right now.
So at what point in your career did you get involved in politics?
Well, it wasn't while I was teaching. I retired, and I became interested in the whole field. I loved my job as an educator. I loved it, and I thought, okay, how can I stay involved?
Mm-hmm.
And I tried a couple of other little interim things, and someone actually said to me, "Mom, why don't you run for office?" And I, quite honestly, I hadn't thought of that.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I hadn't. And so I said, okay. So I did, and I was lucky and I was successful.
The first time you ran for city council, was that the
yeah.
first one?
Yeah. I
And
ran for city council, and I was lucky enough that I won.
And what year was that?
2006.
2006.
Yeah. And I've thoroughly enjoyed my time up to this point. And
Okay, well, hang on. We need to take a little break, but please stay with us, because now we're going to see where that interest in politics went.